Mind Hacks for Quitting Porn, episode number 5, Honesty. Hello friends, it's your lucky day. Before the episode begins, I want to tell you about a special limited time offer I have for completely free coaching. I have a brand new program that I've designed for coaching people one-on-one, and I need participants to try it out and tell me what they love about it and what they don't. This offer won't last long because I can only accept a handful of new clients. So if you're ready to quit porn and you want free help from me, visit GratefulLifeCoaching.com/free coaching. That's GratefulLifeCoaching.com/free coaching. Thanks, and now back to the episode. Hello there. I'm Stephen McConnell. I'm a life coach. I'm a Christian. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But no matter who you are, I hope this podcast helps you in your struggle with quitting porn, helps you to better manage your sexual desire, and helps you believe again in a future that will be bright for you. Have you ever been with a group of friends and one of your friends made fun of you? And you felt really embarrassed because part of you knew it was true, and everyone else knew it was true, and that's why they laughed? I had a friend who was really good at imitating mannerisms. He could talk the way people talked, and he could even walk the way that people walked. And he took turns imitating different people in our friend group. When it came to walking like me, he got really slouchy and slumped over. My gut reaction was to deny and say, "Nuh-uh, I don't do that." But it was hard to deny the laughter of my friends. Now, walking in a slouchy way isn't some heinous crime, but it's interesting to me that years back when this occurred, I still had trouble being honest with myself about what I was doing on apparently a daily or even an hourly basis that caused my friends to all notice it. When it comes to self-improvement, an important aspect of honesty means being open with ourselves about things that we are doing that are not in line with our values. So being open with ourselves about things that we are doing that are not in line with our values. So often when we talk about honesty, we think in terms of not telling other people lies, and that's certainly part of it. But I think we miss the part where we practice being honest with ourselves first. It's kind of funny that, on the one hand, as a life coach, I'm not here to tell you what you should value in life, but on the other, I am saying that if you want to quit porn, honesty will help you. Honesty is key to living in line with the rest of your values, whatever they are. As a Christian, I have a certain value system that includes trying to love others regardless of what they have done to me or for me. I also value giving others the freedom to make their own choices. That last one was easier before I had kids, and now I find myself trying to make choices for them, and I have to remind myself of what I value. A crucial point to consider is that while honesty includes the ability to examine things in your life that are not in line with your values, it certainly does not mean that we have to be mean or ugly about it. Sometimes we think we're being really honest when we say something like, "Yeah, I'm so terrible. I only think of myself." But that statement goes beyond honesty, to the point that if I say it, I'm disrespecting myself as a person, I'm diminishing my self-confidence, and I'm even tainting hope for myself in the future. In fact, not only is that statement unkind, it's not even true. It can't be true. Why not? Well, to say, "I only think of myself," literally means that we never think of anyone or anything except ourselves. I don't know anyone who does that. This may seem like semantics, but the point here is that we're trying to be honest, and honesty necessarily means the full truth, the complete truth and nothing but the truth. The full truth might be something more like, when I spend hours watching porn, I prioritize my short-term desires over my commitments to other people and my values, and I'm filled with regret about that. Notice that while the full truth doesn't attempt to hide exactly what we believe we did wrong, it also invokes compassion because it acknowledges our humanity. Why does that matter? Because compassion for yourself leads to resilience during times of change. None of us are without fault. And so, if any of us is deserving of praise, then in some way we all are. We all have contributed good to the world, and we need to acknowledge that equally, as well as the mistakes we have made. So honesty is not only being open about things we're doing that are not in line with our values, but also acknowledging the things we are doing that are in line with our values. Some of you listening may keep a journal, like I do. For years, I have listed things that I'm grateful for at the end of the day. But I have modified that in recent years to also include things that I'm proud of, things that I thought I did well. Honesty doesn't require being cynical, either about ourselves or the future. As Thomas S. Monson, a man I deeply respect, once said, "The future is as bright as your faith." To me, that means the future hasn't happened yet. No one can say for sure what tomorrow will bring, so we can be as optimistic about it as we choose without a loss of honesty. Because what we believe is possible in the future entirely determines what we will attempt to achieve. If we believe that it's possible to quit porn, then we're motivated to take action, and we will follow through. Conversely, if we believe deep down that we'll never quit, we lose all motivation to try. Notice that no one can know the future for certain, so why would we consciously choose to believe in a dismal future for ourselves? So that someday in the future we can say, "Aha, I was right. I knew I would fail." Yay us. Yay for being right about predicting our own failure. We have to realize that our brain loves to be right. It wants to be right even more than it wants us to be happy. Which seems backwards, but that's the reality of the primitive brain. It wants to win. It wants to be right. So if you notice patterns of that going on in your life, you may want to pause to reflect on what being right in that circumstance actually buys you. Often it's nothing, even though it seems really important to be right. Ironically, our desire to be right or to appear that we were in the right can get in the way of honesty. Rather than admit that we did something wrong or against our own value system, we may find ourselves making excuses and rationalizing our behavior, arguing, leaving out details, hiding, and even lying. So what started as the seemingly harmless desire to be right, which comes from the primitive desire to win, actually leads to us losing if we aren't careful. What do we lose? Well, we lose ground in improving our personal behavior, for one, but even more fundamentally, we lose honesty. Let's bring in a concrete example. Your wife finds out about your porn problem, and she says you need to go get help. Defensively, you claim that she's the cause of your porn problem by not giving you as much affection as you think you need. Whew. So let's imagine for a minute she doesn't react in complete anger, but actually believes you and apologizes and tries to be more accommodating. Do we think that your porn problem will actually go away? Notice that if she ever decides to stop accommodating you sexually, then apparently you have no choice but to go back to porn, right? Such a prevailing belief and excuse takes all our power away. It's not honest. The truth is that because of our higher brain, we each ultimately make our own decisions. Therefore, we have not only the capability, but the responsibility for our own actions. Our wife can't make us watch porn, so blaming her isn't being honest. And blaming her will never help us quit. Alternatively, realizing and confessing that our current porn habits ultimately stem from choices that we ourselves have made gives us the power to change our behavior. My friends, this is exactly what you want. This is the best possible news. The power to change is a gift that we all have, and I thank God for that gift. So now that we've talked about the significance of being honest, I want to talk more about when to be honest. Now you may be thinking, shouldn't we always be honest? And the answer is yes, absolutely. We should always be honest, especially with ourselves. However, when it comes to our relationships with other people, sometimes oversharing every detail and thought that comes into our mind with someone else really doesn't help them, and it doesn't help us. Why? Because the human brain tends to look for the negative. It looks for what's wrong. This may be helpful for our survival, like, whoa, don't step off that cliff. But dwelling on what's wrong in our lives doesn't help our relationships. For example, with the excuse that we are just being honest, we can end up complaining, gossiping, judging, and accusing others, and the stories we tell are often exaggerated beyond what we know to be true and factual. Another place to be cautious in our honesty with others is on the subject of confession. Most users of porn carry significant guilt and shame about what they've looked at and how they've hidden it. It is true that confessing can help to rid us of shame as we face the fear of rejection and try to courageously overcome it. However, there is such a thing as over-confessing, confessions that are not genuine, and confessions that are neither kind nor thoughtful. How can a confession be unkind, we may ask? Isn't the truth always good? We have to consider, who is our confession intended to serve? If a confession is only my desperate effort to get something off my chest, and I race through an apology, and then brace myself for a potential backlash, then I may very well get it. If we've spent the last 10 years hiding something from our spouse, and only spend 2 sentences quickly telling her what we've done, what exactly do we expect her to do with that information? Remember, the human brain automatically focuses on what is negative, and all we have shared is something negative. If we had some small outside hope that sharing this information would help build trust in our relationship, then unfortunately, we have likely accomplished the opposite. Why is that? Because we haven't shared the full truth. Rather, we've hastily, and perhaps cowardly, shared only a tiny slice of the truth, leaving our wives to only imagine what we haven't shared. If instead what we really wanted was to reassure our wife of our commitment to her despite what we have to confess, then affirming our commitment to her and our marriage may have been the right place to start. If we waited 10 years to tell her because we are afraid of hurting her, maybe that's what we should share next. If we thought maybe we could fix this problem on our own without needing to drag her through it with us, maybe we should share that too. If we were afraid that she would think that we don't truly love her when we truly do, maybe we should share that too. I hope you can see that such a confession that confesses our love and not just our problems is naturally less focused on ourselves, is more considerate of how our loved one may be feeling, and is more likely to end positively than a confession coming from a defensive, dark place. If you're experiencing lots of negative thoughts about yourself and possibly others around you too, try to clean that up before you begin confessing to someone else what you've done. If you've waited 10 years, certainly waiting another hour or day to get your head in the right space before you speak is warranted. For those of us that are religious, and our porn habits have violated our religious beliefs, it may be helpful to first talk it over with a member of our clergy or a trusted friend who is more impartial and can see the situation more objectively than we can. As a life coach talking to you about it, my aim is to help you clean up all the negative thoughts you may have about yourself before you intend to engage in conversation with others who may be much closer to the situation. And if you've already confessed and it didn't go well, and now you're wondering what to do, I would still say the right place to start is cleaning up your brain of all the judgment about what already happened. And again, I can help you do that. Sometimes honesty can seem to come at a high cost. But that's usually when we are focused on the short-term implications of facing the truth. The long-term benefits of honesty greatly outweighs all of that. So if you're looking for motivation to be honest, don't look at what may happen today or tomorrow. Look at your life in years down the road. Look at the lives of people that you care about in many years down the road, and then think about what truth you have to share with them today that you think will help them the most. I hope and pray that what I've shared with you today will help you. Love the truth, my friends, the kind truth, not the ugly truth. And then share it. Believe it. It will change your life. Thank you for joining me in the episode today. Join me next time as we talk about the unintended effects of setting rules on our behavior.